Good morning. Watchtower's latest broadcast for May with Jodie Jedderley, and it seems that they've gone back to expensive suits, rings, watches, and they're using smartphones instead of a Bible. But there we are. Now, my aim is to ask Watchtower to use their billions in order to help the poor. As Jesus said to the rich young ruler, please give away all your possessions and follow Jesus Christ. But I'm going to go off subject just slightly because we'll listen to what Jodie Jedderley has to say about Jesus Christ.
The Bible uses many titles to describe Jehovah, but Jesus' frequent use of the term Father highlights how Jehovah wants to be known by his worshipers. Similarly, the Bible also uses many titles to apply to Jesus: the Master Worker, the Word, Michael the Archangel. But he's primarily known as Jehovah's Son. And based on Jesus' ransom sacrifice, Jehovah also views us, his imperfect servants, as his children.
According to John 17 and verse 3, knowing God and Jesus very well is a requisite for eternal life. Now, if you know and love Jesus Christ and you're choosing a title to present to your brothers, would you not choose titles such as Wonderful Counselor, Prince of Peace, our King, our Redeemer, the Light of the World? I'm worried that Watchtower's governing body do not know Jesus Christ as well as they should. But I can see what Jodie Jedderley was getting at, that God is our Father as well as the Father of Jesus Christ. And he will act as a father does. But we will never, ever be children of God in the same way that Jesus Christ is. Jesus is the only begotten Son of God, the one who is most beloved. If we love Jesus Christ, then God will love us. We're not jealous of Jesus' position at the right hand of God, who has great power over everything just at the moment. But we love Jesus Christ, and we're grateful that he has a position now higher than us, because he deserves it so well. But let's get back to the money for a moment. You know that I really want Watchtower to give away their billions. So I'm going to look at the example of Nehemiah. Now, Nehemiah was a very forthright sort of person, and there was a dreadful condition in Jerusalem 20 years after they had gone back from Babylon to rebuild the temple. Starting in chapter 5, Nehemiah gets back there and he finds this, that there's a great outcry of people against their Jewish brothers. They were saying, our sons and our daughters, we are many. So let us get grain that we can eat and keep alive. We are mortgaging our fields, our vineyards, our houses to get grain because of the famine. We've borrowed money for the king's tax, and now we're having to sell our children as slaves. A dreadful situation, and Nehemiah was quite angry about this, so he gathered all the Jews together, the ones who had the money, who were lending on interest, and saying to them, what you are doing is not good. So he said, I'm going to set an example for you. He said, we're going to walk in the fear of our God, and we're going to obey the law of Moses, and we're going to get rid of this practice of exacting interest, because it's against the law of Moses. So from chapter 5 and verse 11, Nehemiah says, return to them this very day the fields, the vineyards, the olive yard orchards, their houses, and all the money that you've exacted from them on interest. Give it back. And they said, yes, all right, we'll do that. So Nehemiah shakes his clothes out, and he said, God will shake you out if you do not do what you have just promised. So they said, yes, all right, we'll do that. Now, it goes on that Nehemiah, it appears, is very wealthy, and he's now the governor of the area in Jerusalem, but he's not going to accept the fee for being a governor. The reason being, in verse 15, the former governors who were before me laid heavy burdens on the people and took from them for their daily ration 40 shekels of silver, huge amount, every day. So he said, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to persevere in the work of building the temple. And out of his own income, out of his own money, Nehemiah had 150 people eating at his own expense, and he provided for them every day 1 ox, 6 sheep, various birds, chickens I suppose, well, it would be today anyway, and every 10 days all kinds of wine in abundance. He set such a good example. Now, Watchtower, you have done the same thing that those bad Jews did. You have lent congregations money to build a kingdom hall. Once they finish paying the money on interest, you've told them to keep paying the same amount. And then you took the kingdom hall ownership away from them. This is shockingly bad. Watchtower, you have billions. Do what Jesus says. Give away your possessions. Help the poor as best you can. Give up notions of luxury and expensive video things. You are not Hollywood. So let us follow Nehemiah's very good example. It's a lovely story, actually, of Ezra and Nehemiah, and I hope to do it at another date. A very exciting story. So God will be with us if we do what we can with our resources. Obviously, we're going to need a certain amount of money for ourselves, but where we can help our brothers, let us do so. With God's blessing, and God be with you.